Hello, everyone. Welcome to cricketworld.com. We are ready for the big one, the Ashes. The first Test match starts on 21st of November at the Perth Stadium in Perth, followed by the day-night Test match at Brisbane, and the third Test match at Adelaide Oval, the Boxing Day Test match at the MCG, and finally rounding off with the New Year Test match at the Sydney Cricket Ground. As always, I've got my friend and colleague Nikhil Narayan to look ahead to the series and specifically to the first Test match at Perth. Nikhil, how do you look at this series and the first Test match specifically at the Perth Stadium in Perth?
Yes, Chandresh. The greatest rivalry in international cricket, in cricketing terms at least, even bigger than India Pakistan, started in 1882. So 143 years of history. This is probably one of the biggest Ashes series of recent times. Australia is ranked one in Test cricket, England is two, so it doesn't get closer than that. The series is also set up beautifully, Chandresh. Remember what transpired in Ashes 2021 and 2-2 down under when England last toured Australia. They were humiliated 4-0, big margins of victories in all four tests. They then lost in the Caribbean. It led to an overhaul of English cricket. Captain Joe Root, head coach Chris Silverwood, director of cricket Ashley Giles were all sacked. So England were forced to completely transform how they approach Test cricket, and the result was what we today call baseball under the new captain Ben Stokes and coach Brendan McCullum, which started from the home series versus New Zealand in June 2022. Since then, England, under this baseball approach, has played 14 series, Chandresh. They won 8, lost just 2, drawn 4. In terms of matches played 41, won 25, lost 14, drawn 2. This is the first big test, or should I say, this is the biggest test for England's baseball approach. And they would really, for baseball to be considered revolution, they would ideally want a win in Australia. But history is not with them. England has not won a test match in Australia since Sydney 2011. They haven't won a series in Australia since 2010-11, the same time they toured there. England last won the Ashes at home in 2015. And obviously, the last Ashes series was 2-all in 2023, which was an amazing series. England came down from 0-2 to draw level 2-all. So, a massive series. This will be, England need to win this series, in order to, vindicate, in order to prove that baseball is just not, slam dam cricket. And this is their biggest, most sternest test down under.
Yeah, just now England have named their 12 for the first Test match. This is the 12 that they have named. Any surprises? It looks like they are all set to go in with an all-pace attack. We've got the two quicks, Jofra Archer and Mark Wood, fit again. They are ready to fire. Then there is Bryden Cars and Gus Atkinson. Plus there is Captain Ben Stokes. Would there be temptation to bring in Shoaib Bashir? Because playing both Jofra Archer and Mark Wood in the same 11, though it is a tempting and a very exciting option, would they still go for that?
It's going to be an interesting call that Chandresh. Ideally, they would want some variation, and Shoaib Bashir, is a very fine off spinner. But Joe Root can also bowl. And the wicket at Perth, probably the fastest wicket in the world, pace, bounce, carry, and there is some talk of England going with an all-out pace attack. So it's going to be touch and go. My feeling is that Shoaib Bashir might not play because they're certainly not dropping anyone from amongst those four fast bowlers you named. There's Atkinson, Archer, Mark Wood, and Bryden Cars. Those four are playing. So who else can? They won't drop a batter for Shoaib Bashir. So I think Shoaib Bashir will miss out on Perth. But that is a very strong lineup for England, Chandresh.
Yeah, at the other end, you've got Australia, who will be led by Steve Smith, and he has an onerous task on his hands because there is no Pat Cummins for the first Test match at least. We don't know for the rest of the series as yet, though Australia keeps telling the rest of the world that he'll be ready for the second Test match. There's no Josh Hazelwood, so they are really handicapped by not having their first choice pace attack for this opening test match of the Ashes.
Absolutely, Chandresh. That is a massive, massive blow for Australia. Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood, that's like 600 test wickets, at an average of 23, not playing the series opener at Perth. There's no Sean Abbott either. So Australia's bowling resources, obviously they're depleted. A lot of pressure on Mitchell Stark to perform. Scott Boland is likely to replace Cummins, and there's uncapped Brendan Doggett who might come in for Hazelwood. He's got 190 wickets, I think, in 50 first-class matches. But Australia will still miss Cummins and Hazelwood. It is a massive blow for them, especially at Perth.
Yeah, that's right. Now, let's start looking at some key players on either side. What do you see? Who are the key players on either side? Two key players on either side, in your view.
Yes, Chandresh. First, let's go with the home team. For Australia, I would go with Scott Boland, actually. Very underrated. 62 wickets in 27 innings at an average of 16.5 in his short test career so far. Those are brilliant numbers, Chandresh. Also, a phenomenal record at home in Australia, 49 wickets in just 9 tests, average of just 12.6. I remember that 6 for 7 he took at the Melbourne Cricket Ground in the Ashes in 2021. So Scott Boland, almost a like for like replacement. Actually for Josh Hazelwood, he's a very line and length bowler. He's there and thereabout, and he's expected to do well in the conditions in Australia. The other player I'm looking forward to in this is the great for Australia is the great Stephen Smith, one of the greatest batters, I would say, of all time in Test cricket. The numbers speak for themselves. 10,500 runs almost, average of 56, 3600s, average of 56 in the Ashes, 1200s in the Ashes, average of 60 in home conditions in Australia with 1800s. Just a legend. And I think Stephen Smith is expected to have a big series with the bat. And that will actually determine whether Australia comes out triumphant or not. Because I think he's by far the biggest player. There are some other batters also, but I think Stephen Smith will be key for Australia. As far as England are considered, Chandresh, uh, Joe Root for me is a key player. Now, Joe Root has a terrible record in Australia. We all know that no Test 100 in Australia ever, which is shocking for a batter of his class and caliber. Average of just 36 in 14 Tests down under, 950s, but never reached the three figures, as I said. But he's been in great form overall in Test cricket since 2023. Average of almost 60 in 31 Tests, 1100s. I think Joe Root is going to have a great series. This could just be the series which defines Joe Root in Australia. And then I'm looking forward to Jofra Archer. If fitness holds, I think he's going to have a massive series with the ball. Express pace will definitely make a massive difference at Perth and Brisbane, which are the first two tests, versus Australia is 22 wickets in 4 tests at 20 apiece. Uh, he's never played Test cricket in Australia though, which is very interesting. But he will certainly enjoy the bounce pace and carry almost all the pitches down under. Chandresh.
Okay, we've looked at the key battles. Now sorry, the key players. Now let's look at some key battles in this first test match at least. Uh, if I were to ask you to list out two key battles, what would they be?
Uh, if I have to pick two, Chandresh, then I look at Travis Head versus Jofra Archer is going to be very interesting because Travis Head, as he sets the game up for Australia. He does what a Virender Sehwag, did for India. Scores big runs, and scores them quickly, and takes runs away with the match. In the first session, he has the ability to score 100 himself. So Travis Head, if you see the head-to-head 6 innings, 55 balls, just 20 runs against Jofra Archer, who dismissed him once. So he hasn't been on top of Jofra Archer. This would be a cracking contest with the new ball. The other contest I'm looking forward to is actually between it's Harry Brook versus Nathan Leon. Actually, in 2 innings, Nathan Leon has got him out twice, which is and with an average of 17.5. I think this Harry Brook is expected to have a big series. One of the most talented batters in the world, Nathan Leon, we all know, probably the best off spinner in the world currently. This is going to be a massive battle. There's a third one between Joe Root and Mitchell Stark. But they are old foes. They've played each other a number of times. But Harry Brook versus Nathan Leon for me is a massive battle in the Ashes.
Okay, we've looked at the key battles, the key players. Now, if you look at the venue itself, Perth Stadium, relatively new. What can we expect there in terms of numbers?
Yes, Chandresh. Amongst the fastest venues in the world, it's considered to be a paradise for fast bowlers. Fast bowlers have picked 134 of the 175 wickets at the venue in the five tests played here, average of around 27.8. The spinners average around 35, which is not too bad. It's an interesting wicket, Chandresh, because obviously it has a lot of pace, bounce, and carry, but it's also a very true wicket. So it offers value for shots. So if you see the team scores here, batting first, the range from Australia's, mammoth 598 for 4 versus West Indies to India's 150 all out, on the last two in 2024. But interestingly, all said and done, I mean, it is a great wicket for fast bowlers, but there have been four, 325 plus scores batting first, and three of them in excess of 400. Expect a lot of pace and bounce and carry help for the fast bowlers. But once you're in, you can really cash in, especially in the first innings.
Now, the big one, Nikhil, what do you think is going to happen in this first test match?
This is a difficult choice. This is a very difficult one, Chandresh. I would have ideally said Australia if they had Cummins and Hazelwood, but given they don't have Cummins and Hazelwood, uh, and they also don't have Sean Abbott. Uh, However, they are the home team. They're unbeaten in a series since they lost to India in early 2023. England, on the other hand, had a bit of up and down. They beat New Zealand in New Zealand late 2024, drew against India at home. Haven't played much Test cricket. One off Test versus Zimbabwe, but they have the team, and uh, this is the ultimate test for baseball. Uh, I think England are going to surprise us. And if you're asking me for the first test, I think, uh, given Australia have don't have their two main fast bowlers, I think England start marginal favourites at Perth. That's the big call I want to take. So I think England start marginal favourites at Perth, Chandresh.
Okay, let's see what happens in that first test match at the Perth Stadium in Perth. The first test match starts on 21st November. That's Friday, 21st November. And remember, you can keep logging on to cricketworld.com and keep joining us on all our videos right here on cricketworld.com. Like, share, subscribe, and comment on all our videos. That's it for now from both Nikhil and myself. We'll be back soon. Till then, take good care of yourselves. It's goodbye and God bless from both Nikhil and myself.